Trump is calling the government shutdown an unprecedented opportunity, saying his chance to gut more, quote, Democratic priorities. But Democrats may have more leverage in the shutdown fight than people realize, especially if GOP demands splinter their own ranks. And the GOP is saying Obamacare subsidies tied to the shutdown don't matter, but millions of Americans rely on them and strongly disagree. Additionally, federal agencies are blaming Democrats for the shutdown. Ethic experts warn that could violate the Hatch Act. And I quote, this is from the HUD website, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. In bright red on their homepage, it says, the radical left in Congress shut down the government. HUD will use available resources to help Americans in need. Woo! A lot going on with this shutdown, Dad.
There sure is. Now, before we get to the guts of the analysis, a bit of clarification.
Okay, thanks.
A government shutdown doesn't mean that every government function is shut down or every government employee is on furlough. Only about half or fewer of all government federal employees are on furlough.
Right, but a lot of them are working without pay, too.
They're all, a lot of them are working without pay if they're not furloughed.
Right.
But supposedly critical government functions are going on. Of course, ICE can't stop these immigration raids.
No,
oh, my God.
not.
You know, we've been without them for decades, but they're essential. The military, the FBI, certain healthcare functions. You will still get your Social Security. You will still get your Medicare, your Medicaid, and your food stamps. But this, as we said, impacts hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of government workers and their families and anyone who depends upon them. Now, here is the rub, supposedly, and the reason that Sam indicated that some analysts believe, as opposed to previous shutdowns, that the Democrats have a lot more leverage than they have this time. The big rub, the big disagreement is whether a resolution to continue the government should include the subsidies under Obamacare, or technically the Affordable Care Act of 2010. Republicans have adamantly opposed this, going back to the usual big lie. Whenever they want to oppose something, what do they try to scare you with?
Immigrants.
Immigrants. Oh, my God. And as J.D. Vance said, Democrats demand to fund, quote, free health care for illegals. This is what they said, you know, when they lied during the campaign, saying Democrats were taking the funding away from FEMA and giving it to illegal immigrants. Or they said, you know, illegal immigrants are stealing your cats and dogs and eating them. Or when they said, you know, illegal immigrants are these bloodthirsty killers, when in fact they have a much lower rate of crime or violent crime than native-born Americans. I can go on. They always have a lie about so-called illegal immigrants to scare you and to obscure the truth. Are illegal immigrants eligible for subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, Sam?
No.
No. And again, they don't care whether their lies are readily refuted.
I heard Mike Johnson when someone fact-checked him, I think it was on CNN, he tried to say, well, yeah, maybe it doesn't directly go to illegals, but in the end, illegals will get free health care. So, like, you know, at a certain point, it's like, you know, you blame every little thing that ever happens in America on illegal immigrants. It's eye-rolling, to say the least.
Yeah, just check out the website, healthcare.gov, and it's absolutely plain and clear that illegal immigrants are not eligible. So once again, you know, they trotted out the big lie to try to instill fear in all of us in a way that undermines the ordinary Americans, not illegal immigrants, but legal residents and overwhelmingly U.S. citizens who benefit from this. I'll get to that in a moment. The other argument they make, we'll be happy to consider your proposals on the Affordable Care Act only when the government is funded, not under the gun of a government shutdown. If you believe that, Sam, what do I have to sell you?
A big bridge in Brooklyn. And isn't the thing, so the government has shut down twice under Trump, which means that the Democrat, I don't know, were they in the minority in the first Trump shutdown? I don't remember.
Yes.
Right. So they're blaming the Democrats because, in essence, not enough Democrats came to the table and signed the continuing resolution, so the government shut down. But I see Democrats making the point that when shutdowns were looming under Biden and they had the majority, they did meet with Republicans and they did compromise. And that's why the government stayed open. But here, Republicans were not... they didn't want to compromise, so that's why the government shut down. Is that true? Do you know?
Yes. And what are the chances that the Republicans are all of a sudden going to do about face 180 degrees on the Affordable Care Act when there's no leverage? When the Democrats don't have the leverage of a government shutdown, if they're totally unwilling to deal with this issue now, they're certainly not going to be willing to deal with it at the end of the year where they're under pressure to adjourn. And let's not forget, these rates have to be set, for next year. There is an urgent time constraint on this as well. So their arguments, have absolutely no validity. They're either scare tactics or another form of the big lie. Oh, yeah, we'll negotiate this with you when we're under no pressure. Right.
And I heard J.D. Vance saying, the subsidies don't go into effect until next year. And it's like, well, next year is a couple months away, dude. He's making it sound like it's some distant thing so far away. But I heard a congressperson from, I think, Washington State say that November 1st is when people can start applying. Right. So, again, they're just outright lying. I mean, I'm sick of even saying that they're twisting reality. They're
not twisting. It's just an outright big lie. Because this needs to be done now.
The idea that it starts next year is a twisting of reality, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's next year. It's like, but next year is what? November, December, 2, 3 months away.
And you set the rates now for next year.
Right. And as this congressperson, I heard them point out, November 1st is when people can start applying. That's next month. So what, they're supposed to wait till after people... It's just all a load of bullshit from people like Vance, people like Trump, people like Mike Johnson. A load of BS, Dad.
Yes. You want to hear the final load of BS?
Yes.
That this benefits millionaires. Well, the 13.4 million Americans, not just a few. And let's not forget, that's, multiply that by their kids, their dependents, their spouses. It's, tens of millions of people depend upon this. The maximum household income is $96,450 for a family of four. Pretty far cry from millionaires.
What's their... I don't even understand their argument. Who are the millionaires?
I have no idea.
I don't even understand that.
Supposedly, anyone can get these subsidies, even millionaires.
Okay. Yeah. So what?
Yeah. And by the way, while the government is shut down, who's getting paid?
ICE? I don't know who.
Everyone in Congress. All these people in Congress who are belly aching, many of whom, especially the Republicans, are in fact millionaires. And even in some cases, like Trump, billionaires. But, we can't actually help middle-class, ordinary people. This study by independent healthcare organizations show sample 40-year-olds, okay, with an income of $23,475. I don't see how even a single person can get along with that. Right now, they can get health care for $0, which is all they can afford. If the subsidies aren't restored, their costs go up to $920 a year, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. That is the rough equivalent of a fourth of their annual food budget and a third of their spending on utilities and fuel. So they've got to make a choice. Are we going to eat? Are we going to have health care? Are we going to be able to be warm and keep the lights on? Are we going to have health care? But look at even, middle-income people. people making $84,600. The annual premium benchmark for a silver tier ACA, American Affordable Act plan, would rise to about $21,340, up from $7,025 under current rules. That's a $14,000 a year increase. That's a basic tripling of the subsidies. The new figure would be more than double their food budget and more than 4 times their utility and fuel spending. And these are the illegals and the supposed billionaires that the Republicans don't want to help. They are you and me. They are less affluent, middle-class Americans who should not be forced to make a choice between health insurance and paying for food or keeping the lights on or keeping themselves warm. None of those millionaires in Congress have to worry about it. Certainly multi-millionaires like billionaires like Donald Trump don't have to worry about this. But the supposed ordinary people that as populists they defend have to worry about it a lot. And another reason why Democrats have leverage here is that the polls are very much against the Republicans. While there's a substantial proportion of Americans who blame both, but by a substantial double-digit margin, 15 to 20%, the American people blame Republicans and Trump more than Democrats in Congress. And by overwhelming margins, by over 70% margins, the American people favor keeping, not abolishing these subsidies. Thanks for watching our video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a member today.